So I want to start with the greet here, obviously. I mean, we wouldn't start with appetizers, would we? Yeah. We can't pre-bust till we've greeted them at the very least.
No, they just got here.
This is the greet and what it looks like and a breakdown on the specifics of it. All right. Now, before getting into that, I do want to review the importance of it and just emphasize the fact that this is the time you're setting the tone for the rest of your evening. And it's imperative that you build this rapport where everyone's comfortable with one another before we can really start moving forward with getting orders and answering questions and actually taking care of these people.
Right, this is where you let them know what to expect from
This is where expectations are set. This is where first impressions are set.
Right.
All right. So when I walk up to this table, I want to be mindful of the fact that this is a key moment here. And what that means is I don't want to walk up in a distracted state. All right. If I have something going on that's important that I need to take care of right now, I'm far better off just taking care of that first before I walk up to this table. That way, when I do approach, I can be completely present with this table and not preoccupied or rushed, where I'm like, I just have a minute, hello, but I have this other thing that I need to
Right, and you always
care
have a million things going on. And even if you're weeded, you kind of want to compartmentalize a bit before you walk up to this table.
Absolutely. If you're upset or weeded about anything, before you walk up, take a moment, just breathe.
Breathe, yeah.
And then kind of walk up in a more composed state. All right. Now, I also want to get a general read on what's happening at this table before I walk up. All right. If I have two people that came and sat down, and then they have friends joining them, and they're standing up, they're exchanging hugs and kisses, and taking their coats off, and I walk up at that time, I'm just going to end up wasting my time. Like, they're just not ready to deal with me yet.
No.
All right. And it's just going to be awkward.
Gotta give them a moment to settle in.
Let them get settled. Once you see that they're settled, okay, you can walk up. And when I approach slow, all right? I don't really want to rush up to them. More importantly, I want to maintain just a little bit of a distance here, all right? Just enough space. As the night progresses, I will be entering their space, and that's perfectly acceptable. I'm getting plates out of the way, I'm grabbing drinks, etc. That's okay, but we haven't really built that relationship yet. We don't have that rapport.
At this point. Yeah.
We're still strangers, so it's like, let there be a little bit of space, pause, let them acknowledge your presence, a split second, and then I'm gonna say hello. All right, again, it could be hi there, all right, but I'm just saying hello. I wanna pause, and then I wanna ask them how they're doing. So when I say, how are you? It's not just a general formality, hey, how are you? What can I get you here?
It's genuine, this is a real question.
It's a real question, and I'm actually waiting on a response from them. So I say, hi, how are you? We're doing well, thank you. How are you doing? As far as these guests are concerned, I'm always doing well, all right? They do not need to hear how busy I've been,
right,
what I've been dealing with in the back, none of that, all right? I'm doing well, thank you, I'm doing good,
great.
Thanks. Every time, it's completely acceptable to offer a generic, not very exciting answer to that, okay? Now, once I've asked them how they're doing, I'm gonna pause again, and I'm actually gonna ask them if they're having a good evening, or if they're having a good afternoon. I recognize this sounds repetitive, all right, because I just asked them how they're doing.
It is, but with purpose.
There is purpose. What I'm doing with this is I'm just adding maybe 5 more seconds to this initial little dialogue here. Because ultimately what I'm doing, and I'm trying to communicate here or establish, is this two-way open line of communication here. All right, this is a dialogue. I'm gonna be talking to you, you're gonna be talking to me. This is an interdependent relationship where we both have to communicate with one another. So I wanna establish that right in the beginning. Hey, this is a dialogue. Right. You talk, I talk.
We're gonna be hanging out for the next few hours.
And we're gonna be hanging out, right? So, ask them if they're having a good evening. They say, fine, my evening is going well, thank you. And then I'm gonna pause, and I'll typically follow that with, well, thanks for coming in. Have y'all been here before? All right? I think it's important to ask tables if they've been here before. This is what's gonna help you determine whether or not how much information you need to provide them with about the cuisine, about the menu, about the way this place works, all right? So thanks for coming in. Y'all been here before? No, we haven't. Cool, well, welcome. I'm Patrick, I'm gonna be taking care of you tonight. And that's how I follow that. So how are you, have you been here before? No, welcome. I'm Patrick, I'll be taking care of you this evening. All right, this is a good time to introduce yourself. Then you can deliver your elevator speech, all right? Most restaurants are gonna have a few sentences they would like you to communicate to your table about the restaurant. You really wanna avoid a strict monologue that becomes robotic, that you deliver again and again. This is this, da, da, da.
And you become stale in your delivery if you're repeating it over and over and over.
I think as a server, it's more important for you to recognize the purpose of this little elevator speech, all right? And what this is you're equipping them with the information that they'll need to better navigate this menu, all right? Like you're just kind of giving them, this is a general overview of kind of how this place works. Now as y'all go through the menu, you kind of get it and you're not just lost, all right? So that's your elevator. So just be more mindful. This is what you're doing for them. You're just setting them up to move forward with this, all right? Now, after my elevator speech, as I'll say, now as y'all go through the menu later this evening, please don't hesitate. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to offer recommendations as well. Again, that's just an example. What's important is that I communicate there at the end. We're not gonna go over the menu right now, but as y'all are going through this, I'll be here.
It's the repetition of you're standing behind, I'm Patrick, I'm here to take care of you.
Yeah, it's just
That's
that.
it. It's like,
I'm taking care of you.
And this is an example of how I may take care of you.
And you can rely on me. I'll be here. So as you go through, don't hesitate. Any questions, recommendation, all right? Pause, then I'm gonna ask them if there's anything I can get them to drink, all right? So I pause, I let them know. Any questions I can answer. Now, just to get started, can I go ahead and get y'all some drinks? We'll talk more about drinks in the next and offer more specifics on language use there as well. But that's the general transition. Pause. Now, just to get started, what can I get you to drink? All right. Please keep in mind, everything we kind of discussed here from hello, how are you, thanks for coming in, I'm Patrick, welcome, elevator speech. This is all just a general template, okay? This is not necessarily something you have to stick to no matter what. In fact, you shouldn't.
Right, it's important to remain flexible within this.
You have to stay flexible because, again, every table is gonna vary and the sort of level of interaction that they're gonna want from you is gonna vary, all right? When I walk up to a table, hi there, how y'all doing? Good, thanks, can I get a Diet Coke? It's perfectly acceptable for me to say absolutely. And just pivot out, all right, and let that be it, because they know what they want and they're ready to go. If I walk up and I say, hey there, how you doing? We're good, thanks, can we get a Diet Coke? And I say, sure, I'll get you a Diet Coke here in a minute, but let me first deliver you a minute monologue about me, about this restaurant and everything else going on. What's gonna happen, their eyes are just gonna glaze over. They're like, okay, cool, thanks, we got it. Can I just get the Diet Coke? So I want to respect that. It's like, yeah, you know what you want? You're ready to go? Okay. And I can introduce myself later. I can give them more information on the menu later. All right. But right now, okay, sure.
It's part of the trust, building trust and the comfort is that they want a Diet Coke. I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
Because they can trust me when they need something, I'm going to go get it. That's the priority.
Well, and they recognize I'm someone easy to deal with.
Easy to deal with, right.
I'm easy to deal with. It's like I know I can pick up on what you want and I can just make it happen and nothing needs to be added to it, all right? So again, this is your general template, but it's meant to be adapted as necessary. You shorten it, you lengthen it, if they're more chatty, you cut certain elements from it. It's all perfectly acceptable. But what you don't want is to not have a template. You don't want to necessarily walk up to every table with a completely blank slate where you're just kind of winging it, making it up as you go. All right, so that's the purpose of your template. It's just something you can kind of hold on to, all right, and let guide your communication with this initial greet.
Right.
All right. We'll get more into drinks in the next one.